Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Welcome, everyone, to Drumeo. We have Larnell Lewis with us today.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks so much for coming
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
dude.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anytime, man. We are welcome to present Larnell Lewis, guys. This guy is an extreme drummer. You teach out of in Toronto. I
Yeah,
guess it
Humber
is.
College.
He's doing clinics around Canada right now, but he's here today to talk to us about swing and funk feel, applying and thinking about the rudiments in a different way, I guess you can say.
Yeah, totally. There's definitely, I feel that a lot of people just need to add imagination to sometimes just a little that they have, and
Yeah.
they can make it as big
I
as
think
they
that's
want
a
to.
really good point. I was listening to you and Dave talking earlier, and I love that word. And that's almost, I wish we would have called this lesson imagination, because I feel that you have done a lot of things that I would have never thought to do. And it just goes to show that how different your imagination is and how much I'd prefer to have yours over mine. But so before we get started, Larnell, I think it'd be good just to tell people, because I know the biggest question that's going to come up is everything you're playing, and as far as gear-wise, we can get to the playing stuff later in the lesson right away. But do you mind just like giving a quick introduction to the drums and the cymbals?
Yeah. So, as you guys are probably familiar with, these are the DTX 950. I love this kit. I have a set at home. And the cymbals I'm using actually are the Gen16 cymbals, acoustic electric from Zildjian. So as you can see, there are a bunch of holes in these.
Yeah.
And you're probably noticing this very cool blue alien light, if you want. This is the microphone that's actually underneath each cymbal, which allows me to put it through a processor I have down here. And I can manipulate either the frequencies or the individual volumes or even the pan to give a different perspective.
Cool.
Yeah. And over here,
Awesome.
my favorite, this is the DTX Multi 12. So I'll get into this one a little bit later.
Yeah, some pretty cool sounds coming from that.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to check out more of Larnell's playing, because, I mean, he's absolutely incredible, you can check out his website, larnelllewismusic.com, I believe, and he's got some YouTube links of his playing in there as well.
Yeah.
But,
Larnell with 2 L's.
Yes.
You guys
And
don't
then
wanna-
Lewis. So there's 3 L's in the middle. All right.
That's right, 3 L's. Yeah, larnelllewismusic.com.
Yes. There's no sheet music or anything about this. This is all about feel and, like you said, imagination. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to bring to us here at Drumeo. Also, he's got 2 other songs that I'm going to get you to play sometime throughout. So
Cool.
it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Nice.
cool. So first off, explain like you what you were playing kind of there. You were playing almost like it was more like a funk, kind of a soul type of thing.
Yeah, a bit of a funk, 16th note swing shuffle, funk shuffle. Throughout the piece, I was definitely keeping tune 4 on the snare, and a lot of the swing feel came from, well, mainly from what I was doing in the hi-hat and including the bass drum. I guess I'll give a couple of examples.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, and you might notice that I'm not pulling my hand out from underneath to play the hi-hat as well. I'm kind of keeping it locked on the side, something that a group of friends and I just kind of
That's big
grasped
in the
from
gospel
this music.
scene. I know guys,
you know.
when they'll hit it.
Yeah, to kind of stay
Yeah.
in that zone. It allows for some really cool textures, when you're playing the edge of the hi-hat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As opposed to tip and the edge and whatnot. But I'll play this main groove. We'll call it groove A, or pattern A. And I was doing something with a clap, but I'll do it without the clap. Ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very cool. And do you mind, before we go further, do you mind just playing that really slow? Because I really want people to see exactly what's going on with the
Sure.
hand pattern there, especially with
Mm-hmm.
this.
The left hand happening,
Yeah.
sure. Here we go.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. Very
And now
cool.
you went to when you went to the ride too for a majority of the part of the song. Was it the same kind of groove, same
Yeah.
kind of concept?
Definitely same kind of concept. Whatever I'm doing with my right hand, I pull it to the ride cymbal. And again, playing that left hand against the edge of the hi-hat, same kind of texture, same kind of deal, but it also opens you up to allow you to do, double strokes or paradiddles or anything that you want really in between your limbs.
Cool.
Yeah,
Show us an example.
of course. Here we go. I'll speed it up.
So when you're coming up with a swing funk kind of groove, what's the most important thing that you would say to tell these drummers or to tell somebody who's trying to get into that? What would you think is the most important part when you're approaching a funk swing kind of feel?
First thing is to, even within your fills, do not compromise 2 and 4 on the snare. Just start. Don't compromise it. It needs to be there. It helps the music to move forward. And then there's the other thing, which is outside of whatever bass drum pattern you're playing, to indicate that it's swing. Because I can still play 2 and 4 on the snare, 1 and 3 on the kick, but I could completely change the feel with whatever's happening on the hi-hat. So the main thing is to keep, which what I'm doing is a 16th note swing feel. 1 EN, the 2 EN, the 3 EN, the 4 EN. Right. So I'm choosing that grid and I'm playing things within that grid, also leaning towards 16th note triplets as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you want to just, in saying what we were just talking about there, do you want to just maybe play some basic groove and then build it from there, kind of what you're talking about, just adding more stuff over top of the 2 and 4 and everything?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Here we go. Yeah.
I could just listen to you groove like that all lesson. Can we just do that instead?
Oh, man.
Cool. And so sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
No,
where
go
you're
ahead.
going from. And I was just, this is coming from listening to you guys talk right there. I don't know if we're just going off what you had planned or anything like that.
Oh, no, go ahead.
That's all right.
That's
I loved how you were talking about imagination, taking something simple like the single paradiddle and then just starting to twist with it. Do you mind kind of going through that whole process?
Sure.
Just kind of like the way you went through it back when we were chatting.
Yeah. So, working with what you got and being really imaginative and stretching it to whatever the situation is, to the ends of whatever the situation is, I decided to work with the paradiddle. So, placing it on the drums, you might hear usually hi-hat, right hand sticking, left hand sticking snare, quarter notes on the bass drum, or half notes on the bass drum, for example. Okay, so that's probably something you're familiar with. I decided that I was going to take that and still use the same sticking, open it up to the ride cymbal, and swing it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's
Let's
try it.
go. 3.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wicked. Now you're talking about when we were chatting as well as about displacing that, starting the paradiddle, the 16th note earlier or something like that to kind of completely change the feel up. Do you want to elaborate on that too?
Yeah, absolutely. In that feel, so this being your quarter note, and I guess going to 30-second notes.
Why not, right?
So 30-second notes, doing a paradiddle. I guess I'll slow down a little bit so you guys can see. I'll place it on the beat, and I'll play the paradiddle straight, which actually will give a really cool feel. I guess I call them colors, but a nice color to whatever's happening within this swung context. There you go.
Cool.
So.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm going to put it on the, I guess it would be the last 30 seconds before the downbeat of the bar.
Oh, okay.
All right? Here we go.
Okay, you got to show that concept again, but show it. Can you do it in maybe 16th notes or something a little bit?
So.
So what it does, it switches the hand you actually end up crashing.
Exactly. So I got to open up and actually hit with the left hand, which is a good thing to work on.
Yeah.
Open up those hands.
Definitely, definitely.
Of course. Now, you do this with other rudiments as well, obviously, not just the paradiddle, but you're talking about just having more imagination, more creativity with your rudiments.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are things like, the 6-stroke roll, grouping maybe just triplets together, for an interesting combination for the 6-stroke. So, for example, if you went right, left, left, right, right, left.
Right, left, left, right, right, left.
Yeah.
Right, left, left, right, right, left. Yeah.
So what that does is it actually, putting those two single strokes on the outside, putting the double strokes on the inside, it allows you to be really creative, because if you actually think about it and break it in half, so right, left, left, and I could sit around the kid and just do that, and then change directions by starting right, right, left. So I'll do a quick example.
Okay. Sure, yeah.
So.
So show us that in an application in like a fill setting or something like that.
Sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I know we're starting to chop out. We're getting into chopsticks.
I know. I knew it was going to come to this.
And that's what I really wanted to go more into, if it's all right with you. I don't want to completely go off of if you had something.
No, go ahead. Okay. Ask, man. Go.
Okay.
What's up?
When the lesson called has feel at the end, and I really want to talk about, or a little bit at least about, what are you thinking about, or how do you get or develop a better swing or funk feel.
Ah.
Because when I play that exact same groove, it doesn't sound like that.
Mm.
And that's the thing. And I know this is like a common thing. One of my favorite drummers is Steve Jordan.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's just like it's feel. I can just listen to him play on his own forever.
Yeah.
And I just love that. And so, what is it about the way you're playing that is different than the way I play?
Please tell us. We'd all love to know.
Well, I'll start with what I'm thinking about. And what I'm thinking about actually comes from the music that I've listened to. So I know for me, and also, I started really young. I had to lift a lot of stuff when I was little. Like I started playing drums at 2 years old.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
My son's turning 2 in January.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he sits behind the kitten, goes like this, but it's a start.
Yeah, I started really young, and I guess for me, like it started with listening. So, I was listening to James Brown at one point. I mean, some of the gospel music, quite a bit of it has that particular type of feel in it.
Yeah.
Listening to some jazz, listening to a lot of that stuff, and imitating it, and really getting inside of how that triplet should feel.
Right.
Is what I spent like a good amount of my time doing.
Just listening.
Yeah, because you want to take that kind of stuff in. You want to listen to it, and you want to breathe that music.
Yeah.
The more you listen to it, is the more that you'll find little interesting characteristics about it. Whether it's Latin music, reggae music, drum and bass, whatever it is, you'll find those nuances, and you'll be able to apply them because you can kind of jump into that file and flip back and
Right.
pull it out when at will.
Yeah, because I think subconsciously, just listening to things naturally, that's I in some ways you could consider that practice because even though you're not necessarily doing something mechanical or technical, something is still happening. And a big portion of playing the drum set is brains. It's not all muscles. It's not all technique and stuff like that. I think a big part starts up there, and obviously in your heart as well. But yeah, I think that's really, really important.
Can you give us some examples of like some of the music that you listen to, or some of the stuff that you listen to? Maybe some inspirational drummers that you follow along, so people can maybe check them out.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to listen to some shuffle stuff, like more like backbeat oriented, guys like Jeff Beccaro, Steve Gadd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just kind of taking it back there.
Cool.
Those are a couple of names. Newer school, I guess you could say, in the R&B gospel realm. Like guys like Teddy Campbell.
Right.
Calvin Rogers is another great drummer.
Yeah.
What about album? Like if you were to say, hey, go check out this album, it's got great chops or great groove, great feel.
Oh my goodness, I've just listened to so many different things. One I can say, one album that kind of encompasses what I'm drawing from, an artist named Kim Burrell.
Okay.
And then the album is called Everlasting Life.
Kim Burrell.
Yeah, Everlasting Life. She's a gospel artist.
Yeah.
And I believe Nat Townsley is one of the drummers, and also Doobie Powell.
Cool.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah.
So those guys.
Cool.
I'll have to check those out.
Well, maybe we should play a song.
I was just gonna say, yeah, let's get.
Just let me do it. This is my job, Dave. You can.
Yes. Okay. What would you like to do next, Jane?
Do you mind playing a song?
Sure.
Okay.
This is another song off of the same album. The first track I played is a song called "He That Is in Me," and the second track I'm going to play is called "We Gotta Praise." So this is an artist named Dominique. It's from a project called the Glory Town Project. You guys can check that out. I'm playing on it, as well as my good friend Adrian Bent. Shout out.
Nice.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Oh my goodness, where do we even begin?
Yeah, where did we begin?
I want you to dissect that whole song for us as well.
Oh man. Okay.
That was insane.
No, we don't have time for that. I know Larnell has to do a clinic later.
Can we just keep him here for another episode?
I could do the clinic from here. No.
Why not?
Exactly. Cool. There's a couple more things I want to talk about.
Cool.
One is, and because I mentioned to you, I watched a lot of your videos before you came here, and I also read that you started playing drums at a young age in church, correct? And one thing I noticed when listening to your playing is you, and someone even, I think it was Fred, mentioned this in the chat, you have such a light and soft touch, and even though you are playing lightly or softly, there still seems to be lots of intensity behind what you're playing. Do you have any tips on how to develop that, or is there anything special you're doing? Is it just experience? Like as far as developing a light touch?
Yeah. As far as developing a light touch, definitely comes from experience.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of bad looks from musical directors when you're playing too loud. Bad looks from vocalists when you're playing too loud. Bad looks from audience members when you're playing too loud.
Yeah.
So you learn to keep the energy up and the intensity in those situations. At least that's how I learned. I learned from, trial and error, because you can play soft, but the intensity could be lost in translation. Like it can be lost in you trying to keep the volume down. So I know there are a couple of things that I would do to help keep the intensity but keep the volume down.
Right.
So one, for example, is choosing to play a rim shot, which a rim shot, if you don't know already, as opposed to a cross stick, a rim shot is when you are playing the snare and the rim at the same time. So I'll give two examples here. This is roughly snare center sound. Okay? Rim shot. So the rim shot sounds a lot more aggressive.
Right.
Now, easier to perform on an acoustic kit. Playing rim shots where you are, no matter how light you play the rim shot on an actual snare drum, that intense sound is still there. So you can maintain that intense sound, but still keep it to a low volume.
Cool.
So that's something for the snare. When it comes to light touch and intensity, it's about understanding how everything is relative. So, for example, if you want to be, we're going to talk in dynamic terms, if you have a really high range for your double forte, let's say most people would consider your double forte is triple forte, but we'll call it double forte, and you're playing in a particular room where it cannot handle that type of volume past the sound system that you're using, you want to create a new max. So in your dynamic range, where you would consider a double forte, maybe carry it down to a single forte or even a mezzo forte, MF. And once you reduce your top end, giving the image of a dynamic range only topping out at a mezzo forte would help to create that range of intensity as well.
I see, yeah.
Another thing that I do is you can be more intense without getting louder by being more, I guess your playing could be even denser. Like you can do more things within your playing. If it's jazz, for example, maybe filling it up a little more on the snare drum, a little more action between the snare and ride, a little more stuff happening between the tones, just a little more so that it's a little busier.
Do you mind demonstrating that a little bit?
Sure.
I'd love to see, especially in the jazz setting.
Okay. Let's go to a jazz setting because we can do that here.
With the Yamaha DTX 950K.
Plug. Okay. Here we go. I'll just play a straight up swing groove.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. No.
Okay, one final thing. And
Okay.
We'll try and move relatively quickly because I know there's probably like a billion questions.
Oh man.
And the lesson's flying past.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the timer.
And I haven't even got all my questions.
I know. I still got tons of questions.
I'm not letting Dave talk.
Go ahead, Jared.
Foot technique. You wanted to ask
Oh
this
yeah,
too.
I did want to ask this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it was before you were jamming, and you started doing some stuff with your foot and Dave's like, we took the double pedal off. And we do a lot of foot techniques, like a lot. Like we really try and study that, and especially Dave so we just like to kind of take a look at the foot cam when you're playing, even if it's just jamming, and then maybe after that we can just talk a little bit about what exactly you're doing and try and slow it down.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So just play a bit?
Yeah, with like some foot technique.
Some stuff.
Yeah,
Cool.
some stuff.
Here we go.
All right, so now that we've got that, can you just talk? Because I see your ankle's hardly coming up, and it seems like when I watch you play, your motion that you're using are a little bit bigger, and so you have big feet too.
Yeah.
13,
14
feet. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you mind just kind of showing us what you're doing?
Okay. So it's for me, I know this technique to be heel up.
Yeah.
But it's actually something that came out of tapping on the ground with my foot a lot. So I might try that on the foot can here. So I'm actually tapping the pedal.
Gotcha.
Kind of like a basketball, like working with the rebound.
Yeah.
It's kind of pushing the pedal. But same as wrist motion, with the hand.
So applying some of those same techniques to the foot.
To the foot.
Ah, cool.
You did when you were jamming before the lesson. You did like a group of 4 or 6 or whatever it was. It was almost like a single stroke roll on the bass drum. That's when I turned to Jared. I'm like, I could have sworn we took the double pedal off. Can you just demo that? Almost like a consistent roll that you had going on there.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
What?
That's one foot. That's one pedal. That's awesome.
So what I'm seeing is a little bit of swivel.
A little bit of swivel, yeah.
Not a lot though.
It's easy for me to, in the middle of it, get my foot back in position to continue to go.
Yeah.
And that's just something that kind of just happened. But again, based on the, again the heel up. If I find myself, it's almost like if you're playing and you find yourself your stick just starts to kind of get away from you, might do whatever you need to do to pull it in while you're playing.
Right.
So for me, the swiveling is what helps me.
Get back to square
back
one.
to
I think that's a really good point too, and I call that adapt and survive, and that's based on your experience because I think you would get into a playing situation, you're like, wow, it would work best if there was 4 notes in a row there, so you just do it. You just find a way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And then you adapt and survive, and then the more you do it, the better you become at it.
Yeah.
So I think that's very, very true. But with that said, we should.
Yeah.
You have any questions?
I've
I'm
got
gonna start.
Tons of questions that I want to ask him, but we got to get to member questions first.
Yeah, and you can talk 1 second. Just
Maybe I'll get a word in or two here. You go ahead, Jared.
Okay, so if you guys watching live, below the video you'll see submit a question. If you want to ask a question, just go ahead and submit it there. Dave, you can go ahead and say
I don't have any questions. Let's just get to them because we're going to have tons of them. What time is it now? We got maybe like 15 minutes left.
You can say your word quota now, Dave.
My what?
Your word quota.
My word quota. I got like 150 words I have to say in every lesson.
Oh yeah.
If I don't get it in, the members get mad.
Okay, first one's from Alan, and he's asking about are these electric cymbals, and we kind of chatted about that at the beginning.
Yeah. I guess I can just quickly say something about
Yeah,
that.
sure.
So I will take one off the stand.
Sure.
Okay, this is a 12-inch splash cymbal. Now, I'm gonna see that? Ooh,
Okay.
it's an actual cymbal.
Maybe we can hold that right up to there. You have like right up to the high cam, and they can get a close up of it. Oh, it's no light up there. But yeah, you guys
they
can
get
see
it,
it.
yeah.
You can see
You
it.
see me? Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Yeah, so there's tons of holes in it. You can still see my kit.
Yeah.
Closer I get. And if you guys can kind of focus back here, maybe even from that angle, this blue thing that I have happening here is a cable, and there are 2 microphones.
Those capture the sound.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because the cymbals obviously aren't acoustic necessarily, so they're very quiet.
Yeah, so I'll just tap it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll...
No, you're fine. Yeah.
Right? So it's an acoustic cymbal, and that's the A, and the E is electric. So, and I would not suggest putting regular cymbals on top of these,
Right.
because you will blow out your speakers in your ears.
Good call.
Yeah,
That's probably
that.
true, yeah. I never even thought about that. Could use that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, moving on. Daniel L. is asking about the music you were playing to. Did we mention the first song? Did you
Yes.
mention the name of that?
He that is in me.
Okay, cool. And
Was
the
that
artist?
Dominique as well?
Dominique as
Dominique.
well.
Okay,
And that's
so
Dominique with just a Q at the end.
At the end,
Yeah.
correct.
you guys can go ahead and check that out. JDudes116 says, what type of sticks are you using?
Oh, these are Vader Sugar Maple 7A.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
And you're a Vader artist, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Alan is also asking, what are you using for your left foot? What technique?
Oh, that's a good question. If I'm playing time, it was something I was shown,
Yeah,
just kind of bouncing, kind of subdividing a bit.
Yeah.
Some people would call it counting.
with the back of your
Yeah, with the
heel.
back of your heel.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. The rest came from, again, using my imagination
yeah,
and I guess treating it as even a percussion instrument, for
Yeah.
example. So playing it against anything that I'm doing in a groove. So it's not, sometimes, at least for these last 2 songs, I've been playing it constantly, eighth notes or
Yeah.
quarters. I can give a quick example,
Yeah.
just
Sure.
like how I would use it in another
Anytime
context.
you can give us an example, please do.
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
There you go.
All right. We won't get into that one. That'll take a few years. Daniel J. Jones says, great lesson, Larnell. Hope to see more from you. Very reminiscent of a Jerry lesson, which is another drummer we have here at Drumeo. And he says, which, by the way, is about the biggest compliment I can give. So
Oh, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Jav, another one about the cymbals. We just talked about that.
What do you think of these Gen 16s?
Oh my goodness. Something like this being released is amazing. If you guys, I'm not sure if you realize what's happening. Again, these are, metal. It's metal cymbals. And they have a microphone pickup underneath. These cymbals, which you saw with the splash, they have tons of holes, which brings down the volume. And they are being reamplified with this microphone into a little unit I have here, which is called a processor. And this processor has 2 stereo outputs, or 1 stereo output. So 2 lines, left and right. And again, we talk about using your imagination. So some people, in this context, you see me using them as my main cymbals. I don't have any other pads. I have no other cymbals. But for me, in my mind, what I'm working towards is including these cymbals in my acoustic setup to make a hybrid setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, coming out of this unit, going stereo into something like a delay pedal or a distortion pedal, you can go mono into a distortion pedal, And it could just be, you know, with the hi-hat, or you could stack these cymbals together, with the ride or the china, or you could just use the hi-hats alone through whatever sound effect that it is you want, like a wah pedal, envelope filter. And it could be that sound that you play on the side, but without leaving the acoustic cymbal feel realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Toscu1989 says, and I love this question, what was the most difficult technique you've ever learned, and how much time did you spend to nail it down?
Foot
Yeah?
technique, yeah.
Really?
I spent quite a bit of time working with the foot pedal, and just kind of coming up with things over the last 14 years. So I'm 28 now, and so I started when I was like 13, 14 with the foot pedal alone, just looking at it, staring at it, playing it, checking it out, trying things, and I've been adding to the technique ever since. So
Cool. Drumenak, D. Drumenak says, this doesn't quite relate to the video, but he's having trouble developing tom speed. How can he move around the toms faster without hitting the rims?
Good question. So first thing you got to remember is you're trying to solve the problem. The problem is hitting the rims speed. So starting slowly with hitting the toms in a way where you're not hitting the rims, and once you can, you know, you find that decent start point, I guess just work with a metronome and challenge yourself every day to get around the toms. And as you speed it up, you'll find that you're more comfortable with aiming and hitting particular parts of the drums. I mean, even try working on just hitting the rims alone, you know, using your imagination. Hitting the rims alone, hitting the toms, and like purposely hitting the rims or purposely hitting the toms and working on your accuracy. But that would be my suggestion.
Cool. Iggy.Siva says, what will be a good thing to practice if someone is new to the jazz style?
A good thing to practice is being very comfortable with still holding time, what's called holding time on your ride and your hi-hats, mainly 2 and 4. And, well, for starters, you got to listen to the style. You got to listen to the music. If you don't listen to it, then you won't have anything to draw from. But from listening to the music, really pick out what people are doing with their snare drum. Listen to how their snare drum is interacting with the music. Play along with that stuff. But I guess the main thing would be to, you know, understand what would be called snare chatter, or talking with the snare drum. Yeah.
Cool. I like this question. Do It Again says, awesome lesson. Do you have any exercises or books to develop this kind of playing? So any like books that you used growing up?
I used Syncopation,
Cool.
actually. That was the only book I had. And what I did, again, here comes that word, imagination. I used my imagination, and based on styles of music I was listening to, I would actually try to use the patterns from the beginning of the book before you get into the heavier syncopation exercises. Try to use them musically up against the music and just feel my way through the pages, including those short exercises. But it's really just came down to developing my ear and using those patterns and just jumping off from there.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, how often did you practice when you were starting out? Like, do you have any idea, like hourly wise, back when you were really getting into it?
Yeah, when I really got into it, I was doing about 3 hours a day.
Okay.
That was for roughly about a 7-month period where I would come home from school at about 3 o'clock. I would practice from 3 to 6, just in time to watch Bravo Jazz. And then once that was done, an hour's worth, I would do my homework. So it wasn't all drums all day.
Nice.
But I would love it to be.
Yeah. Now it is, right? Though.
Oh, man. All day.
All day.
And dishes.
Okay, one final question, and then we'll play a song, and that'll be the end of the lesson. I know he's got to go to a clinic like right after this, so you're putting on a clinic along the way. So it's awesome.
Langley, BC.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What is the difference between foot technique or any technique on the electric and acoustic set? I guess, and I like how he said, or any technique. Like, do you find it's a direct transfer, or do you find that certain things you have to play differently here than an acoustic kit?
Yeah, you know what? That's an awesome question. I'll start by saying this is not an acoustic drum kit. Okay? But you can use your imagination and you could pretend it is. And, you know, shameless plug, the DTX 950 large size pads with this, you know, textured silicone, like they were able to really nail the difference in tension with the snare pad versus all the tom pads. And so for me, when I'm practicing on these electronic kits, it's a shorter distance to get from electric to acoustic. So a lot of the things that I practice actually translate really well on the acoustic drum kit. But you need to use your imagination when you're here on the electric stuff because, you know, you might have a rim sample, but it's not the exact same thing. It's not a piece of metal.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Let's play the song, and then we'll say goodbye right after that.
All right.
Let's say goodbye so I can get out of the shot because I'm realizing every time we go to that cam,
Oh,
I'm
really?
in the middle of the shot.
Nice.
So I'm going to say goodbye.
I'll say goodbye too. Larnell, thank you
Hey,
so much, man.
You guys, thank you for
Hey,
having me
anytime,
here.
you are always welcome at Drumeo here.
Yeah.
Totally appreciate it.
We'll leave you. We'll get out of the way, and then you can play this last tune.
Okay.
Yes. See you
So
later,
I'll
everyone.
explain it while you guys make your exit.
Sure.
This last song was written by a great friend of mine. His name is Samuel Williams, awesome producer. He's actually the one that produced the songs that you've heard today. Look out for more songs from him. This song is called Cab.